A very good evening to all of you. I, Karan Chetri, a member of Legal Vidya, warmly welcome you all to this insightful webinar on emerging trends and challenges in provision governing women's law and contemporary issues. This session is designed to provide a deep understanding of the evolving legal landscape surrounding women's rights in India. We will explore the challenges in enforcing gender justice, the gaps in the legal system, and the role of legal professionals in shaping a more equitable society. Before we begin, let me briefly introduce Legal Vidya. Legal Vidya was established in 2021. We are an edtech platform dedicated to empowering young legal minds. We offer a wide range of opportunities, including internships, webinars, workshops, and courses, alongside a platform for publishing legal articles, fostering a dynamic space for legal learning and discourse. Before we begin, it is my privilege to introduce our distinguished speaker for today's session, Advocate Sakshi Kothari ma'am. Sakshi Kothari ma'am is a well-renowned advocate at the Madhya Pradesh High Court and an assistant professor at Indore Institute of Law. With a rich academic background and extensive legal expertise, ma'am has played a vital role in shaping legal discourse and education. She holds a BPA LLB degree from Amity University and an LLM in International Trade and Investment from Gujarat Maritime University. Her in-depth understanding of legal principles, coupled with practical experiences, makes her an ideal speaker for today's topic. I'm delighted to introduce an incredible learning opportunity, our upcoming 10-week certificate course on women's law. This course is designed to provide an in-depth understanding of women's legal rights, key legislations, landmark case laws, and judicial interpretations. It will cover topics such as gender justice and constitutional provision, protection against women's violence, workplace harassment laws, legal rights in marriage, divorce, and property, case laws that have shaped women's law legal issues in India. This course is perfect for law students, legal professionals, and any keen on advocating for women's rights. If today's session has sparked your interest in gender justice, then this course is the next step for you. So without further ado, please join me in giving a warm welcome to our esteemed speaker, Ms. Sakshi Kothari, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. So let's begin with the webinar today. Thank you everyone for joining. So today we will be discussing what are the challenges that the women laws are being facing in our contemporary issue and what is the emerging trend. So firstly, let us come to the introduction part that the women laws are being aiming to promote the equality, protection and the empowerment that we already know. We already know that each and every law which has been framed in a manner that the woman has been protected in such a manner. And the new legal provisions are also addressing the same issues that were already been in existing. Like we already know our patriarchal framework that where the women were being viewed as a property. That yes, they are the property. If we are being giving her to any of the house, so the person is considering some type of a dowry from that person, that okay, you are giving us the girl to our house, so we are considering as a patriotic system that we already know that it has always been in our evolving time. But now, when we talk about the current scenario, so the current scenario is quite different because now the persons are being aware about the laws, now the persons are aware about their rights, what are their obligations, how do they have to treat a woman, how their responsibility has to be governed in that. So now, despite there has been such type of a progress in it, but some of the gaps are also still there. As we talk about the section number 63 of the BNS Act, which is talking about the rape. But when we are considering it, a person who has been committing a rape, a person can might be a man or a woman, right? So you have to take into the consideration that how you are being treating that woman. So introducing with this, there is a story of a Julina, a young scientist from a fictional country of Zoland, who developed an AI-powered education program for the girls in the villages without the schools. So in this, we are showing that the women are being empowered, that they are ensuring that there is no voice gone unheard. Unheard. Why it is not being gone unheard? Because as we are considering, a young scientist has been creating such type of an AI powered education for the programs of the girls, that without the schools, also the girls can be educated. Right? So these are the challenges, or these are the frameworks that we can follow in the upcoming, that while we are talking about the AI powered generation education, then how it can also help our women empowerment in that case. Now the second slide is talking about the women who change the world. Do you know any of the women who has been changing the world? The one of the scholar I mentioned in the slide is Indra Jaising. Indra Jaising, in the Verma Committee of 15th October of 2013, the Indra Jaising was one of the scholars who wrote that the patriotic society like those in India may not be adequately prepared to embrace an entirely gender neutral interpretation of rape, but this could potentially give a rise to a significant concern. So, what she quoted, that though we are talking about the women have been changing the world, but what if in the cases the men are also been embracing with such type of an issue, such type of an sexual assault has been happening to that man also. So for protecting them also, we need a gender neutral interpretation of the definition of a rape, that it could also potentially put such a crucial concern to be taken into consideration. But apart from this, we already know that the women have been changing. The first Supreme Court judge named as Fatima Bibi. So like this, the women are being engaging, are being emerging in each and every field, not only in the field of law, but they are being aware about the provisions that are to be governed for their own protection. The next slide is talking about the gender equality, how the progress and the challenges are being taking place. So here is a fact file which has been taken from one of the ministry for the women welfare, which is talking about approximately 18% or the 12% of the women is having an access to the higher education, but they're still fighting for the equality. Though they are able to read, write, and learn things, but they are also being skill labor. But in case when they are talking about the equality is not being governed for them. Why it is not being governed from them? Because they are already been accessible to it, but the opportunity they are not being able to grab it up. So like that only, there is another fact file talking about 18% of the Indian men are also being reported for the coercion. Why they have been reported for the coercion? Accordingly, the study has also been given in the civil society in Delhi, in which it is mentioned that 16% believe that perpetrator to be a woman, whereas 2% claimed it was a man. Right? So we are always being considering that the perpetrator will always be a woman. A woman is filing a false complaint to that person because that man has been getting a progress on his report, or he is getting a progress, or he after the evaluation of his particular employmentship in that particular company, he might be getting a promotion. The woman can't see that. That's why the woman is seeking such type of a false complaint that this man has been doing a sexually abusing this company, he has been harassing me, he has been talking about my phones, he has been sending me such type of an obscene materials. So these type of and false complaints are also been rising among the women, that yes, they can't see the progress of the men being going. So you have to take into the consideration why the gender equality is being progressive or being challenging towards us. So this is a debatable topic, that whether it has been progressive or challenging towards us, but we have to take into the consideration that yes, the 18% of the men is also facing such type of an coercion from the women, but we have to talk about the gender equality and the gender neutrality laws. Now, how can we bring a change into the gender neutrality laws? By making a traditional gender rules. If you see a person with a long hair, you will be considering them a female. You won't think that there might be also a class of a transgender, or there might also be any of a queer society people, or they might be a lesbian, or they might be a gay, right? So you are considering a person with a long hair are to be considered as a female, or a woman, or a girl child, right? The one who has been wearing a shirt will also be considered as a man. But no, if you are talking about the societal expectation, now you are the youth generation that you have to change the perception of yourself that yes, if I am been dressing like this, I might be a man or a woman, right? I might be a sexual or a bisexual. So you have to take the view and the perception has to be changed that okay, the patriarchy was been following it, but now the youth generation will not follow the same. Now we are talking about the women in leadership. The women in leadership are many in our India itself. Though if we talk about the Anandibai Joshi, who was the first woman to achieve a medical degree in USA. Though she was one of the biologists or the physicians, but she was only the one who achieved her medical degree in the USA. Second, if we talk about the Chandrima Shah, which was being recognized for any often heart diseases, that she was the heart surgeon to be considered, that she was only the first woman to do any of an heart surgery. So why in the medical professions, if we talk about the women are in the leadership, though they were in the 90s or in 80s or in 20th century, we talk about that yes, now the women are in the leadership that yes, the woman is gaining such type of a position. They are being showing that they are being capable of it to follow. Also, their achievement demonstrate their right support and women can also excel in every field. It is not only talking about the medical profession, but we also talk about a law profession. In that also the women have been excelling. If we talk about the journalism profession, in that also women have been excelling. If we talk about the human resource department, in that also the women are excelling. So all depends upon the support and their rights that they are being aware about it, then only they are able to excel in that particular field. So here on the screen there are two examples that you can see. A CEO of Olivia who saw that the leadership is not bound by the gender. It is your capabilities, it is your responsibility, how well you are managing all the things, right? So this is not that a woman has been implementing it or the woman has been executing it. She doesn't have that knowledge, she doesn't have that power. No, you can't be thinking about these all things, but a successful tech company was being run by the Olivia that though she mentioned that there is no biasness in our gender. Second, if we talk about the general, Samaira Hadid, that the first woman in the Barcelona peace making forces broke the barriers in the military leadership. Even if we talk about in each and every field the woman has been achieving, right? So this is also one of an example of the military leadership that she was able to excel it in the peacekeeping of our forces, that yes, she proved her leadership. Now, if we talk about the role of man in gender equality, in 2013, a Justice of Burma committee recommended that there has been an impact on a national government talking about that they have been passing such type of a criminal amendment act. Though we already know that the Justice Verma Committee was came into an existence for making our laws to more of an enactment or more of the provisions were being added in that, right? So here the changing of the rape to the sexual assault. Why it was been recommended in this committee that while we are reading the definition of a rape, it has been mentioned a woman who has been suffered or the woman who has been committing or a man who has been committing, right? So this is not showing that there has been such type of an gender neutrality approach in a rape. That's why they thought that why we should go for a rape definition, we should change it to the sexual assault definition because this amendment will bring and broader definition for the offenses, including the victims of all the genders. It might be a man, it might be a woman, though it should be a person being written, right? But later on, it was being decided that they are not being following the Justice Verma Committee recommendation. They followed with the rape definitions too for protecting that all the women's right in the organizations, all the essentially that they are talking about the patriarchal crimes that is happening, where the women are considered to be in property for our house, that we will be selling her, the dowry will be given to us, or will be receiving it. So these all were the patriarchal thinking that were going on. But nowadays, the men also has to think that the gender equality has to be followed. Each and every policy which has been drafting with such a notion that yes, a gender neutrality approach should be there in that particular policy. If we talk about the posh policies, each and every organization, if the organization is having an employee as well as the employer, talking about the men or a female or a woman or a male person, right? So if these all categories of a person is there in that particular organization, then a harassment can take place to any person, right? It can be either a man person, it can be either a woman. So if both are being facing this type of an issue, how can a posh policy be reflected that they are being protecting both of them, right? So you have to think into it that yes, we are framing this type of a policy that both are being protected towards that. Now we are talking about the mm, now we are talking about the economic empowerment. How does an economic empowerment plays a crucial role in the women's for applying this such type of an role in that they have been talking about? If any of a woman has been facing this type of a psychological or an emotional traumatized situation in a particular organization, then how they can face it out, how they can work in it, how the economic empowerment can be taken place. If the woman is not being isolated, not being able to face any such type of an humiliation. So if they are not being able to do so, then how the economic empowerment will take place? So we have to think that the women are being paid as same as a man, because if they are being capable for that responsibility, then yes, the women are also being empowered for this. So here is a story that without a male co-signer, a woman was not able to open a bank account. Why does this bank policies were having such type of policies previously? Right? So the economic empowerment is not only being depending upon that a person where the women were unable to open their bank account, and nowadays the women are able to do all the activities just without the help of a man. So you have to understand that you have been economically empowered with that person's, and all the women will have an initiative for striving their own businesses. Nowadays, a woman has been starting the home businesses also. Like the cloud kitchen businesses are also being started. So the women are being and economically empowered. So you have to understand that how you have to grab this opportunity, or how you have to showcase your skills, that yes, you are being empowered in that nation, or you are being empowered in that particular field of working, that yes, you can bring a change in the society. Though in the Salford versus Co, a futuristic society where the gender equality is a norm, where the women are running the entrepreneurs or the enterprises, contributing to only 60% to the economy. Though these are the examples of the international level, though in India there are very less examples for it, but still the women are having an economic empowerment in India too. Now we are talking about the women's health and well-being. Though we already discussed about that in the medical professionals also, they are being at a good level, that yes, they are achieving their goals, or they are being capable of it. But when we are talking about of our history or our back years, so in that they were only being that told that if there is a girl, in your womb, then we have to kill this, or there will be such type of an abortion in that cases. But later on, the amendments were being charged in that after 26 weeks, the woman will be granted such type of a maternity leave from that private organization or any of the public organizations too. So you have to think how the women's health and well-being will be talking about, showcasing that how the women are prioritizing them, that yes, they are being the one of the stronger society for it. How the mortality rate has been reducing nowadays, and how the maternity leaves are also been approachable in each and every organizations. Here is an example of Dr. Paris, which has invented BioPulse and wearable device that monitors the pregnancy risk in the real time, so that they get to know that a woman has been facing such type of a risk in a pregnancy or not. So this country has established such type of a mortality rate, that yes, they are having such good type of a mortality rate, that yes, this is one of the trend which has been going on. Now we are talking about the women in STEM and innovation. There has been lot of high-tech cities in which the women are being talking about the self-sustaining goals, that how we can have a good innovation, and then how the Kalpana Chawla became the first woman astronaut to reach that place, how the Anandibai Joshi had been reaching that place of a medical degree in the USA, right? So these are one of the examples in Stampede innovation, that they were able to contribute in each and every field, in each and every science, in each and every innovation, or from the grassroots level, they were able to achieve the higher authorities or the higher position of it, irrespective that what is their religion, irrespective what is the racial discrimination that they have been facing, right? Irrespective how they have been working in their workplaces. So these all are the examples of the women in STEM and innovation. Breaking the stereotype and the biasness. Judicial biasness are also being influenced by the gender stereotypes, which could affect the decision making and sentencing both the male as well as the female survivors. So for this slating, there was also a case law of Rafiq versus State of UP, in which they were talking about a woman who has been extending such type of a physical injury. So will that physical injury be impacting our rape definition or not? Will it be included or not? Or we are only being solely perceiving that no, this is not a rape, though it can go, the physical injury can go to the sexual assault. So this you have to consider that you are been affronting that woman's modesty. So this is one of the examples for the biasness that the stereotype has been breaking up. Second example has been given for determining the border for the welfare of society. That when we are talking about the welfare of the society, then you have to leave all the patriarchal system, all the stereotype thinking. No, no, that you don't have, you do, you have to go to the parties only with the boys, not with the girls, right? So these type of stereotype or the values should not be there. Also, these are the examples that you can read on your slides. Even though a 14-year-old chess prodigy defeated the reigning world champion, proving the intelligence and the skills are not gender traits. So in this case, what did the elves said that though I am a chess prodigy, I know that how to play a chess. I am the owner of the chess. I am winning the championship. But to prove my intelligence and the skill, there is no requirement of the gender traits. It might be a woman, it might be a man, or it might be a combination of both of it, right? So if you are being intelligent with your skill, you are improving your skills, then you are not being a gender trait for it. No, the men will only be a power. Men, if we need such a muscular person, so they will only be considering of the men in that society. But no, you have to think that men are out only for one thing. It's not only talking about like a negative connotation of that particular men, but you have to consider it them that yes, they are also deserving such type of a gender identity between both of the persons. Here, the second example is talking about the women should only focus on the domestic roles. They shattered the records and redefined that what women could achieve in sports. So, if you are a champion in that particular sport, then there is no one to stop you unless and until you stop yourself. So, you have to become a confident woman that yes, I am the one who can win this race or who can redefine that the women are also there in achieving in the sports department too. It's not like that the women are only achieving in the law department or in the medical profession. The sports are also one of the criteria in which the women are also excelling. Now the women have been aware about their rights. They are being known that yes, we are in the leadership, we have that such empowerment, so they're able to come up with their issues and the issues are also being resolved. Now, how can we support women every day? Though we need, though we already know that the 8th March has been celebrated as an International Women Day, right? But as you all have been studying about it, or they, might be in your school time also, you would be celebrating it. But ever thought that the men days are also being celebrated? Why does that day has not been more popularized as a women day has been popularized? Right? So we have to have a such type of a thinking towards that. That is, if the women are also having such type of a thing, then the men can also have such type of a thing that yes, their day can also be celebrated, but these are not being considered as a large scale. But when the Women Day are being celebrated, they each and every school or each and every colleges or each and every university will be approaching towards celebration of a Women's Day. So you have to think that how you are empowering yourself, how the skill building workshops have been there, how you have been growing up with the 35% of your workplaces. If the women are been filing such type of a false complaint, then how you can approach the court towards that, how the inquiry procedure will be taken place, how it will be worldwide being recognized that yes, these were the lacunas that we were being lacking towards for any of a gender neutral approach in our Indian laws. Coming up with an ending of an empower one and empower all, though there has also been a course designed for the women law in which we will be talking about the posh laws, in which we have been talking about how the property, how the women can also claim in the property rights also. Also, if we talk about the Dowry Provision Act is also there, the MRTP Act is also there, MTP Act is also there, Medical Termination Act is also there. So these are the courses that we have been designed for it and which will be beginning in the month of the May. So I request you all to enroll for that course too. Also, if you have any doubts, you all can ask. So as you can see on the screen, a 10-week certificate course has been. The key highlights of these courses are comprehensive study of the women rights law, the workplace or the employment rights law, gender justice, marriage and divorce, property rights, case studies, and the practical application, that how you will be filing the case, how the complaint has been drafted in our POSH policies, how you have to go to the internal committee to address that issue, how the FIR has to be registered for the rape cases. So these all things that we'll be studying in our certification course. Then after that, there will be an assessment of an MCQ of 50 questions, and if you do it well, then the certificate you will get with an A plus grade.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Students are asking questions in the chat box. Can you please go through it?
Okay. Nalanda is actually conducted on the surrogacy laws. The surrogacy laws are governed in women law course. You can come and study in that course. There will be not a specific session for it. And one of the person is asked that the Madras court held in one case giving a right to the woman on their individuality. Also, the privacy, however, in a marriage, so it will not be affect the concept of the marriage. So in this case, what we are talking about the concept of the marriage, that is in the marriage, if the person is having such type of a property being an acquired of a self-acquired property, then it has been transferred to that woman, right? Depending that whether she was being in that co-partnery or the family heirs of that particular field or not. But in this, the court has held that the right of women is on their individuality, so that there is no any privacy infringement for that person, because if the person has been belonging to a nuclear family and over there they might be having such type of a property issue, then she might be getting a right over there also. So the court is held that yes, the woman is having for their individual rights too. That yes, now the daughters are also being a part of co-partners. But when you study about the class one heirs, the women are only the part. There is no male person being involved in it. No, there is no father, no grandmother. But when you talk about the class two heirs of an Hindu Succession Act under the schedule, then there have been talking about the father, brother might be there, brother, sister might be there. So in that the particular property has been divided. But in this case, the court has been holding that no, there is no concept for the marriage has been involved in it, but an individual personality will having a right. So there is no privacy infringement in that case. Everyday judges giving different meaning to rape and sexual assault, but difference in simply giving explanation to the term. See, as we already learned, or I also stated in my slides, that in the Justice Verma Committee, it was been recommended in 2013 that we should not be using a word rape. We should be using a word sexual assault, so that it becomes a gender neutral approach towards it. But in each and every judgment, the interpretation of each and every line has been a different one. Why it has been a different one? The rape and sexual assault is different. Right? If you read the definition of a rape is quite different from the definition of a sexual assault. Assault, both the definitions are quite different, that you have to understand the difference between both of them. If we are talking about the rape, in that it is written a man who commits a rape. So it is directly or indirectly saying that a man will only be committing a rape. There might be not any of a woman being committing a man's rape, right? But if we are talking about the sexual assault provisions that they have been talking, any person might be there for a sexual assault. A person who is working in an organization might also face such type of an assault by the female employee in that organization too. So you have to understand the interpretation of each and every word which is given in our Bare Act or in the legal provisions. That yes, in the simple meaning, the judges have been interpreting it in a different manner. Though both can't be used in the same or synonymous to each other, both have to be used differently from each other. Men, there are many laws protecting, but you can explain how the men's are being protected. There is a no specific laws in which the males or the men's are being protected. But if we talk about our constitution, the article number 14, which is talking about the equal protection of law, equality of law, then in that, if we talk about the equal treatment has been there in similar situations. Also, if we talk about the article number 15, which is prohibiting any type of discrimination amongst any person. Also, if we talk about the article number 16, which is talking about that there is no discrimination in the public employment. So there is such a gender inclusive language should be used in the Bare Act so that we can have a gender neutrality approaches, but there are no laws in which the men's are being protected. Only the men's are being protected when a person has been written in such a definition. A person has been written, so we can interpret that a person might be a male or a female. If we talk about a POSCO Act, which is only for the child welfare or which is only for the child that any child has been given. So in that we are being considering a girl child may also be there, a male child will also be there, right? So these type of a gender neutrality approaches are there. Then we can think about it. Yes, they are being considering to be protected under these, but a general law has not been passed for protecting the men in India. Gender neutrality comes under right conflict obligation for both men and women. Vishaka was the state of Rajasthan. In the last session, if you all have been attending the pause session, in that I have been explaining that these were the Vishaka guidelines were being issued, that what are the obligations of the employer, how the institution of our complaining committee will take place, or these things, the Vishaka guidelines were being issued that there was one woman named Babri Devi who was being brutally gang raped by the political influencer, though she went to Anyupan village nearby Jaipur, that nearby Rajasthan, that she saw to ban a child marriage. So she went over there as a representative of an NGO. So an NGO has filed a case regarding that. The Vishaka guidelines were being issued that for the protection of the women in the workplaces are also being taken into consideration. This also chargeable for 12 weeks. Is new criminal laws talking about the gender neutrality or not? No, the new criminal laws are also not talking about, but some of the provisions might be talking about. But wholly we can't have a gender neutrality approaches. But it will be very biologically impossible for saying that a woman is asking a man to be raped, right? Always a man has been committing a rape, right? So each and everything can't we say that yes, this has to be done with the gender neutrality approaches. You have to look for each and every provision, each and every wordings of that particular provision, that why this thing was being stated this and why the interpretation in the judgment was being different. Can be the legal implications of the what can be done to reduce the exploitation of uh, what can be done to reduce the exploitation of the women centric law by some women even when we are all aware about it? What can be the legal implications for the online sexual harassment? If we talk about the implications for the online sexual harassment, so in this we are talking about the cyber stalking. A pattern of threat has been following. Cyberbullying has been there for protecting the minors from the online. So for the online harassment, if the woman has been facing such type of an harassment, you can take up the screenshots of that particular. And if you're working in the particular organization, then you can go and approach the HR of that organization, or you can file an anonymous complaint in the internal committee, right? That you can give that these were the issues that I've been facing by this is causing me an online sexual harassment. But if you are a student in any of an university or in college, then you can go and approach towards the college regarding to this, that this is a online sexual harassment happening to me, but my name should not be disclosed in it. So the internal committee has a confidentiality clause to be maintained. That yes, if we are keeping this type of a confidentiality clause, we would not reveal the name of yours. While if we are going under the investigation or the inquiry procedures of that particular case or a complaint. Are lawyers blind? Did they give a wrong judgment or interpretation? I have read this week Allahabad High Court says the minor grab breast amounting to rape, but this is wrong against the society. See, each and every high court or each and every judge is having an own interpretation in itself, right? So we can't say that the judgment is giving this type of an interpretation. If you have just been reading about that, what is the judgment held, or what were the whenever if you are been reading any of in judgment, you have to go to the facts also. That maybe the defendant side was not being able to defend the contentions which were given by the petitioner or the defendant were not being that viable to be considered that the judgment has to be provided in such a manner. Right? The evidences prove of that particular judgment was not that proper. That's why there are the judgment pages are for 50 20, there might be 100 pages of the judgment, but you're not been reading the whole judgment. You are just been relying on the one shot, or you are being just relying on what the IP leaders have been giving in your synopsis, right? Though they are also being correctly interpreting it, but while you are the lawyers, becoming a lawyer, so you have to have a habit of reading the judgment. That why they are being considering that what have you mentioned? Saying that the minor grab breast is not amounting to the rape, right? So in these such cases, you have to read that what were the contentions which were given by both of the parties, that why the judgment has been so negative, or why this has been such a positive in our changing in our society itself. So each and everything that you have to follow up on. And it is for real that we should minor not amounting to rape can consider in a liberal sense when it affects the society or opportunity must be given to the minor. See, if a minor is there, then it will be governing under a cause for the juvenile justice for the protection of them. So we are not considering that in our rape definition, or we can't call that person or a child to that court for the cross-examination. That's why there is been maintaining of a child welfare committee or the juvenile justice board is there, in which the examination is being taken by that police itself. If we get to know that the minor has been culprit for that particular situation or that particular act was being done by him, then we are considering him that yes, he will be sent to the rehabilitation center. Then only we can go for the further procedure, because the minor cannot be called up to the court to understand that what is the situation going on. He is unaware about any of the legal proceedings what has been happening. That's why a child welfare committee has been formed out. that these were the issues that we were being facing, these were the crime that this person has been faced. Though we will teach him or her in the rehabilitation center whether it was being correct, or whether your act was being correct, or whether the act was being wrong in that nature. So we will be teaching them that this thing that you have been committing is bad in nature. So now the corrections has to be made. So motor communications in the case of grabbing child's minor. If Allahabad High Court is given a correct judgment, then the foreigner when everyone released not even is commit a single crime. See, if you talk about the foreign nations law, they are having a gender neutrality approaches in them. See, if you talk about the Canadian Human Rights Act, they have a gender identity or an expression as a prohibited ground for the discrimination. If you talk about the UK law, they are having the Equality Act 2010, which is talking about the anti-discrimination law, the equal treatment are being given for all, right? Equitable environment for any of the individuals, irrespective of their age, disability, gender, marriage, civil partnership, maternity, race, religion, belief, sex, or sex orientation. They're not being depending on any of the factors. Those are giving a gender neutrality approaches towards that particular gender. But when we are talking about the India is not having such type of a gender neutrality approaches. Realize what will happen and commit a wrong against the state and society so everyone get fear. Set aside that Allahabad judgment. Anyone else having any doubt?
Ma'am, should we wrap up the session?
Yes.
I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Advocate Sakshi Kothari, ma'am, for sharing her expertise with us. A big thank you to all our wonderful audience for your active participation and engagement. Thank you all for joining us today. Have a great evening ahead. Take care.